Hey guys, Fran here. Just thought that I would jump on really quick and talk to you guys about a lot of things that are kind of going on around us right now or in the world of spirit, just things. Just chat a little bit about some of the questions that I get and just all things spiritual, which is my niche. I love it. I love all things spiritual. So I thought that I would just talk to you guys a little bit about some things that I've been thinking about and that I've been getting questions about, and I wanted to kind of share with you guys. So let's just chat for a little bit. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is I get a lot of questions about, is this spiritual thing where people have gifts and they can actually hear from spirit and mediumship? Is it woo woo? Is it not right? Is it something that's evil? What is all of that and where does it come from? Because a lot of people are just now, hopping on this spiritual journey and they are confused about a lot of the stuff that they're seeing or that they're hearing, and they just kind of want to know, like, what's the difference between a psychic? What's the difference between a spiritualist and a spiritual medium? What's the difference? And, those are good questions, and they are kind of tough questions because they come from, everybody's opinion is different. So I am not a psychic, and so I don't dabble in the world of being a psychic, which there's nothing wrong with that. So let me just say that up front. There's nothing wrong with that. To each his own. We all have free will and we have choices. My gift's a little different. I was born with the gift of discernment. So I have the gift of sight, I have the gift of clairvoyance, clairaudio, and I am a spiritual medium. Now, let me say this. When I say that I'm a spiritual medium, people obviously go to Ghost. Like, a lot of people will start thinking about Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost when Patrick Swayze jumped in her body and she became somebody else and blah, blah, blah. That's not how my gift operates. My gift is a little different. My gift is more of reading the energy of the person that has passed away and hearing the messages that they want to give to their loved ones that are still here. So, if Tyler Henry is the Hollywood medium, I guess I would be kind of the hip-hop medium, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, everybody has different gifts. And so the thing of it is, in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, what it is that we all have the ability to hear from God, to hear from the Spirit of God, to hear from the Holy Spirit. But a lot of times we get so busy that we miss it. We're asking for answers, but we miss it. So there are people like me, and there are other people who have different gifts than I have that are there to assist you along the path. So when people ask me about what my purpose is or how I feel my purpose is to help people, I say that I'm the bridge. I connect the spiritual and the physical. So I bring messages forth that are downloaded to me through my angels, through the Holy Spirit, through my ascended masters and teachers, etc. And I give those messages. Now, some people read tarot cards, some people read angel cards, some people get messages different. So it really just depends on what you vibe with and what resonates with your spirit. And also what you need to remember is that no matter where you go or who you go and talk to, if it does not resonate with your spirit, then you need to ask God about it yourself. You need to pray about it. You need to ask for the information yourself. Because if someone tells you something and it doesn't feel good to you, then you need to ask. And a lot of times we ask, again, we're just not hearing. So the gifts of the Spirit are really real. Like, a lot of times people will say, well, there's no Moses is walking around and no Daniel's walking around and there's there's none of those people, those prophets don't walk around the earth anymore. You know what? You're right. But when those prophets were walking around on the planet, neither were you. Neither was I. So do you understand what I'm saying? God is still the same. God talks to all of us. He still is talking. And there are still people that have the gifts to give you information from the Spirit. So, I guess it depends on how you feel or how you were raised or what you think. A lot of people think that it's really, really cool to have these gifts and that, it's the in thing to do. And I'm here to tell you that having the gift of the Spirit, having the gift to give information to another person that can help define their life or their purpose is a very, very heavy spiritual responsibility. It is not a game. It is not a joke. It is not something that you should take lightly. So it is a real thing. And there are people like myself that have a wealth of information downloaded to them. And here's another thing. People always say, well, you know, I expect people that have this gift to be pastors or ministers or to look a certain way. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot judge the book by its cover. I am very, very normal, I guess you would say, to a point of I'm a mother, I have a family, I do everything that everybody else does, except I have this connection within me that allows me to connect with the Spirit very clearly and give messages. So, you know, it's not about how somebody looks. You know, a lot of people feel like you have to look like super duper duper weird, or you have to be super duper duper weird, or, you know, super earthy, or, you know, you can't like nice things. You can't, you know, here's the thing. There's no rules here. There are no rules. If God wants to use you, he's going to use you, and it don't matter what you look like. It don't even matter what you're doing at that point. Because if God's ready to use you, he's going to use you. Simple. There are a lot of different energies. There are a lot of different spirit beings. So I always tell people, try the Spirit by the Spirit. Ask, do you come in love and light? If something is coming to give you information or trying to talk to you, or, you know, you are seeking, you're on this spiritual journey and you're seeking a deeper connection, make sure you are connecting with the right spirit. For me, I believe in God and I want to connect with things that are associated with God. So I want the light energy. I am considered a light worker. I do everything in the light. I don't want to connect with any dark energies. No, thank you. Not interested. But there are a lot of people that are interested. No judgment here. Do you? However, you want to make sure that you are connecting with what resonates with your spirit, and understand that you have a choice. You have a choice to say, yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do it. But I will tell you that it is an amazing gift to have, and it is a very, very real gift. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is how people always say, well, are you a Christian? Like, are you a Christian? Well, yeah, I'm a Christian. And I'm talking about this because during Virtue, a lot of you know, because a lot of you who maybe are watching this video are into angels and spirit and magical things of the universe. So a lot of people have heard that During Virtue has now said that she is a Christian. She saw Jesus and she felt the need to be baptized and become a Christian. So a lot of people will associate like Christianity in one box and spirituality in another box and Buddhism in another box. And my question is why do we have to have boxes in the first place? Like, why do you have to put a label on it? Why can't you just be a believer? So I am a believer. Yes, I'm a Christian. I've always been a Christian, baptized from the time I was 7 years old. Believe in God, trust God, love God, all of that. But I'm a Christian spiritualist. I am not religious. So therefore, I'm not going to denounce and I don't know if she denounced, I just heard that, but I don't know. But so I'm not coming for you, Doreen. Let me just say that. So people won't say I'm coming for her. I'm not. I'm talking. We're having conversation here. We're dialoguing. So I think that people have this perception that you either have to be one thing or another. Like, you can't be a Christian and be a spiritualist. You can't be a Christian and like the teachings of Buddha. You can't be a Christian and on and on and on. You guys get it, right? But I just don't believe that's the case. I personally don't believe that's the case. I am a believer. I believe in God. So therefore, I believe in all things spiritual because God is the master of the universe, no matter how you put it, no matter which way you try to peg it in, what hole you try to peg it in. And I feel like sometimes religion divides us, you know, because everybody is so busy saying, well, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that. Instead of understanding that we really are one, like we're one. We are one. We all came to the planet the same. We're all going to leave the planet. And here's the other thing. We all bleed. And we all breathe the same air. So there's nobody who's better than. And if Doreen Virtue wants to be a Christian, that's great, girl. Do you. I think it's fabulous. However, I think that what happens is that people get attached to the person, to that physical person. We get so attached to who that person is and what that person does that we forget that they are just a person, just like you. They just have a gift to do something, or they're doing something with the gift that they have, but it doesn't make them any better or any worse than you are. They are a person, and we get attached to people, and we get so attached to their views and what they're telling us that we forget that that person is just a person like us. So I think that a lot of people are probably upset because they relate to Doreen Virtue, and they relate to that new age. So here's my other thing. A lot of people will do anything that they can do to get around God. Like, people will blame God for everything. And I have to tell you that is very unsettling to me. And again, these are friends' opinions. This is my opinion. You don't have to go with what I'm telling you. We're talking, we're chatting. So it's unsettling to me because a lot of times people will say, well, the minister did this, or the pastor did that, or, the church did this, so I'm done with God. Why? Why are you done with God? Because the church did that, or the pastor said that, or the pastor did this. What does God have to do with that? We are all beings of free will. We make choices. Sometimes we make horrible choices. I make horrible choices. Everybody makes horrible choices every now and then. You can't blame God for the choices that we decide to make in this physical life. You can't do that. You just can't. And a lot of people will do anything to go around God. So they will use that new spirit, that new age, and I'm a spiritualist and all that to try to push God out of the picture. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say this, that I don't feel like we all need to be divided in certain categories and boxes. God is who God is. He always is going to be who he is. He is who he was, as Jay-Z said, before we got here. Like, you was who you was before you got here, right? Okay. So let's just say this. God is the same today, tomorrow, and always. He has not changed. It is when people come along and try to change God, when they try to put God in this box or try to put God in that box. You can't put God in a box. He is not containable. God is all-knowing, infinite. He's the master of the universe. You cannot put the master of the universe in a box. So stop blaming God for stuff that people choose to do, because that's what's happening. And that is not cool. And you have to understand that we are all given the most precious gift of free will. So we have a right to choose. So if a minister or a church or a pastor or whatever happened, I'm really sorry that you experienced that. I am. And I understand having those experiences in church where you feel like, yeah, this is it. I ain't never going back to church again. I get it. But what I want to tell you is that don't blame God for the choices of man or woman. All right. So enough about that. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about how we are upset we get upset because we ask for something and we don't have it. And we are blaming the universe, or we're blaming God because we don't have it. So this is kind of about God in a way. It's kind of a God thing. And I am a God girl. I believe in God completely, love God wholeheartedly, and that will never change. No matter what I do, no matter where I go, it's not going to change. But I know that even before, when I was younger and in the midst of my mess, because I had mess. Who doesn't have mess, right? I I would get a little upset because I would think, well, God, you should have fixed this by now. Like, why am I still waiting on this? Or, God, what is the problem? Why haven't you done this yet? What is up? I'm asking, I'm praying, I'm begging. Please, Lord. And nothing's happening. So a lot of times we get upset because we feel like God is not moving. Like, we feel that he's not going to do it for us, or he hasn't done it for us yet. So, why do I keep asking? Whatever. So I want to share a secret with you. So everybody goes to the law of attraction and The Secret and Think and Grow Rich when they're wanting to create their life, which those are great books. Love them, have read them myself, and use a lot of the teachings myself. But again, that's another one of this trying to go around God thing. Like, a lot of people don't go to the Bible, which is the original word. So that would be your original manual, your sword, the original manual to all of these books and all of these things that are new agey and new thought, all started right in the Bible. Okay, so whatever your stance is on the Bible, let me just tell you what my stance is on the word and on creation, and why it's possible that you don't have what you should be having or what you want in your life. So in the beginning, when God created everything with his spoken word, right? So God spoke everything into existence, right? So that kind of gets rid of that whole, well, God knows what I want, right? So if God had to speak things into creation, why don't you? Why do you just have to trust that he just knows it and he's going to just drop it to you? Now, he does know it, but the faith is in the asking. Your spoken word puts things into the universe. It plants the seed and it starts to grow. So you've got to speak what you want, and you need to speak it with authority. You can't be wimpy about your stuff. So you can't say, well, I would love to have the man of my dreams, but I don't think he's out there. Well, okay, so you just said I want it, but I'm not going to get it. So you've canceled it out, right? Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about creating with authority. Let's talk about decreeing things in your life with authority. I am now creating. I am manifesting the love of my life. This is going to be the most soul-stirring, heart-shaking, together love I have ever experienced. This relationship is going to be one of spiritual, mental, and emotional and physical balance. That's creating, right? So, a lot of times we want to half do things, but we want God to completely do it. We want to half do the work, right? And we want God to do all the work. You got to do some work too. And your work is to ask with authority, believe without doubt. So you can't believe today and then it don't show up tomorrow. You don't believe for it no more. Like, okay, so it didn't come. So yeah, all right, I'm moving on to the next thing. No, you got to stand on what you want. You have to believe it in the spiritual, that you know that things are already worked out up here in the spiritual realm, and you're just waiting to show up, waiting for it to show up in your physical existence. You have got to know that you know that you know that you know that God is, and he will, and he can, and nothing is going to stop it. There is nothing that can stop you from getting what you desire, what God has for you, what you have asked for. There is no energy, no evil, no negative, nobody that can stop you from getting what God has for you. Period. So cut that out. Cut that out that I told her and she told them and they stole my blessing, and stop it. That's not true. That does not happen. What God has for you is for you. The only person that can stop it is you. So when you believe, you have to believe with faith. You have to believe, and you have to wait with expectancy, knowing that what is coming is coming. I have a client that I have worked with for, I'm telling you, I don't even know how many years. I don't. And we have worked on the same thing over and over and over again. And you know what it is? It doesn't happen. They'll get so close. They'll get really, really close, and then they lose the faith. And it doesn't happen. So when we're talking, I'm like, so where's your mindset? What are you thinking? What are you believing? Well, I'm having a hard time believing for certain things. Well, then you need to stop asking for those things until you can believe for them. Because you're defeating your own purpose. And not only are you defeating your own purpose, you're piling doubt in your spirit. Because you're thinking that, okay, well, God's not going to do this. I've been asking for it. If you don't believe for it, then it's probably not going to happen. You have to believe for what you're asking for. So you ask, you believe, and you receive. When you are receiving, you receive with expectancy. You know that it's coming, so you're not surprised. So you're getting prepared to receive. You are preparing your home if it's for your mate. You're preparing your resume if it's for a new job. If you want a new home, you're looking at new homes. If you want a new car, you're looking at new cars, on and on and on and on. And I always talk about the material desires, because I get a lot of email about the material desires. A lot of people are wanting material things. They want money to pay their bills. They want, new cars to get to work, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to share a little story with you guys. So maybe you know, maybe you don't. I am a big Louis Vuitton fan. Yes, I said it. I am a big Louis Vuitton fan. And years ago, when I was working my normal job and making boo-hoo money, I would never go buy a Louis Vuitton because I could always think of something else that I could do with that money. Like do something for my kids, take my kids on vacation, do something for my family, whatever the case may be. I always had an excuse. Never would go buy the Louis Vuitton. Never. And so when I did not have that job anymore, that's another video. I think I've done one, but if I haven't done one on it, I'll do one. But anyway, when I didn't have that job anymore, and I really needed to stretch my faith muscles, I needed to exercise my faith. So faith is just like any other muscle that you have. You've got to work it to develop it, right? So I was doing my vision boards and my intentions, and I remember putting the never full bag on my vision board. Now, think about this. Think about where my mindset was, or think about how I was thinking, right? If I didn't go buy it when I was making tons of money, am I really gonna go buy it when I don't have any money? When I'm not making any money? All right. So I put it up on my vision board, and every day I would think about my Louis Vuitton Never Full, how I would wear it, how I would do it, what I would wear with, what I would even put in it, right? All right. But my mindset was still in that I need to hold on to this money to do something else with. So you know what I did? I went and bought the Louis Vuitton wallet. Yeah, I went and bought the wallet instead of the bag. Had the money to buy the bag, but my mindset had not caught up with my desires. My faith had not caught up with my vision yet. You understand what I'm saying? So I was still in that lack mentality state of there's something's going to come up. I got something else I'm going to have to do. Instead of trusting and believing for what I asked for, right? So one day I was talking to my mentor, and she'd come over and we were looking at my vision board, and she was like, "You still don't have that purse yet?" And I was like, "No. Can you believe I don't have that purse? It's been a year." She said, "Can you believe you don't have that purse?" And I was like, wow. I put that up there wanting that purse, but felt like I still couldn't have it because something else may come up. So you're following me here, right? Sometimes you have to get your mind, not sometimes, I'm sorry, all the time. You got to get your mind in line with your desires. You got to get your mind in line with what it is you want for your life. Because if you are saying you want something, but you're not believing it, you can't see it, you have tons of excuses about why you're not going to get it, you're not going to get it. And that has nothing to do with God. That has nothing to do with the universe. It has to do with your mindset. So, again, if you're not receiving the things that you're asking for and you truly believe for them, then you need to go back over and tweak maybe how you're asking, maybe the way you're asking, maybe the way you're believing, or maybe the faith part. The part that says that I know I'm going to get this, I know I'm going to get this, and I just cannot wait until I get it. So, needless to say, not only do I have the one Louis Vuitton Never Full, I have several Louis Vuittons, and I am getting more. And that's not bragging. What I'm trying to say is that I had to align my mind with my desires, and so do you. In order to receive what you want, there's no difference in manifesting $5 and $5 million. There's no difference. It's all money. It's all energy. It's all the same thing. So there's no difference. It just depends on what you can believe for. Okay, so the last thing I want to chat with you guys about today is doing you and honoring your space. When I talk about honoring your space, I'm not talking about honoring your home, but you should do that too. But what I'm talking about is your space, you, your temple, your body, you, your energy, honoring your space, and being selective about who you share your energy with. Now, let me explain something to you. When you are around people, depending on how you're vibrating or how elevated you are or how elevated they are, there is always going to be an exchange of energy of some kind. If you are around people that are vibrating way low and you're vibrating way high, then you're going to find that you leave very drained. You're going to find that you leave, maybe you leave unsure, maybe you don't, you're having trouble, believing or doing your affirmations or even making it through your day because you feel drained. There are energy vampires. That's what I call them. Energy vampires, people who will come dump all their stuff on you and you are just like, oh my gosh, oh God, I feel so heavy. If you know about spiritual baths, after you leave somebody like that, you should go take a spiritual bath. We'll talk about that later. If you don't know anything about spiritual baths, you need to protect your energy and your space. Remember that this is your temple and you are sacred. Now, when I say sacred, I'm not talking about, you have to be sacred like, oh, I don't look sacred and I'm not a nun and I'm not. No, I'm talking about you are sacred. Your energy is sacred. Your vibes are sacred. Everything about you is sacred and you have to honor that. You have to honor your space. Be aware of who you're linking up with. Be aware of what you're linking up with and how you're linking up. Because we are all energy and we attract and energy attaches. And if the energy is not resonating or good with if the energy is not good and it is not resonating or linking up with your energy, then it's going to drain you. And then you have a hard time trying to pull up out of that if you don't know how to cleanse yourself and cleanse your auras and get your chakras back aligned. So be careful about who, what, when, and where. Everybody just is not supposed to be in your space, next to you, be your friend, be your lover, be your homie, be your compadre, whatever you call them, your boo, whatever. Everybody is not supposed to be in your space, okay? So honor your space and be selective about whom and how you allow people in your life. All right, guys, so I guess is this a rant? No, it's not a rant, it's a chat. I don't rant, but I did just kind of want to give you guys a peek into, who I am, what I think, how I think, what I feel. I think that's important because a lot of times there's a misconception about who you are because of what you do. And I am just a really, really very simple spiritualist. I believe in all things spiritual. All things spiritual. I believe in all the divine magic of God and the universe. And I want you to experience that as well. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great and fabulous week. Bye for now.